Hi everybody, it's Willow from Willow Moon Mystical. Um, do you remember this? There's a video on it. This is the altar cloth that I painted 2 years ago for Samhain. And I just used this again actually for Samhain this year. But I like to celebrate something called Autumn Day, which is the 21st of November. So, and that is just giving thanks back to the earth before it goes to sleep. Maybe I put out little pieces of nuts and stuff for her creatures to grab before the winter lies ahead. And it's just a time for me to give thanks and to commune with Mother Nature before she goes to sleep for the winter lies ahead. So this is the altar cloth that I painted 2 years ago. There's a video for that on here. And then this is like the one I'm going to be painting this year. I thought of painting one for Autumn's Day, but I didn't want the exact same pattern. So instead, I went back to the Dollar General and I found some other ones this year. And I found this. And when I was first looking at it, it really didn't seem like it had any type of pattern to it at all. But after I sit down, I started staring at it a little bit, then individual leaves started appearing. So I thought, okay, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I grabbed my watercolor palette here. And this is just a watercolor palette I got from the Dollar General or from Michael's. If it's from Michael's, it's called Artist Loft. It's about $5. If you get it at the Dollar General, it's about $5 too. But this is perfect for painting your altar cloths. And I like to paint mine for the Sabbats. And like I said, like the one I just showed you, this one, I don't know, I laid it over there. This one, I've used this one now for when I painted it, was one Samhain, then last year, and then this year. So I've used this for 3, and I'll continue to use it. But I don't want to use it for Autumn Day. And so I decided I was going to paint a new one this year for Autumn Day because I like to have one for each of the Sabbats. And so some of them just kind of like got so faded out, I discarded them because I wanted to paint new ones anyhow. So what I did is I laid this one out and I just studied it where I started seeing what looked like leaves to me. And then I started going around and painting the leaves. So as you can see, and then I just started outlining them. Now this is still wet and some of it will fade out and I'll probably go back in and go back over filling in colors like this one here is faded out. I'm going in between them with the brown to kind of like separate the leaves, because when they fall on the ground, the ones that are already under are turning to brown and they're going to start composting really quick. So like here, I looked at this over here and this looked like a great big maple leaf to me. So I'm going to paint this one again. And I am going to paint it like a maple leaf and I use red. So the first thing I want to do is I try to trace out what a maple leaf would look like to me. And it doesn't have to be exact because when the leaves land, they're going to land and get covered up by other leaves. And so you're not going to see any distinct forms of what the leaves actually are. So to me, that's going to be like a maple leaf. And then I'll just go back in and I'll take the brown after this dries more and I'll put like the veins into it. So there you go. That is like a maple leaf to me. And then I'll go around it with the brown to fill in the fields around it. Now this one looked like an oak and I painted it orange. Now this one here has a little bit more of a red into it, but I want to paint this one again to look like it is almost like an oak. So I'm going to begin here. How did I do this one? Okay, and so yeah, had it coming outward. So I'm going to just do, so Autumn Day is not an official Sabbath, and it's not Thanksgiving Day either. It is just a day in November, November 21st, when you give thanks to Mother Earth. And you can also give thanks to the sun for fire, keep us warm through the winter, and for lightening our ways. And then you can give thanks to air for the fresh snow she'll bring to help clean the atmosphere and the very breath of life. And then you can give earth to water for it being cleansing and refreshing, like the cold snow falling up on the ground. And then you give thanks to Mother Earth for what she has given us all the time. And I like to put out like walnuts and peanuts and little pieces of apples and things for the little squirrels and the birds and the little creatures of earth around here to help them with their winter storage. And it's just Autumn Day. It's a day of Thanksgiving, but it's Thanksgiving to Mother Earth and the elements. That is what I celebrate it as. So see, as you can see, this is going to look like an oak when I go back in and I start filling it in with some veins after it dries a little bit more. Now here I put 3 leaves going that way, so I'm going to have these 3 leaves going this way, but I'm going to change it up. I think this time I'm going to put the yellow in the middle. She's a big old fat leaf. You will use a lot of water for this because you want to keep that paint wet so it'll move. That's the reason why I use the inexpensive paints, is because I may use a lot of them for this, but to me it's worth it. I don't know, I've been using the same set for quite a while on doing altar cloths and things, so I do get my money's worth and then some out of it. Then I'm going to clear this. I want to go in with some green. I think I'm going to take a little bit dark and a little bit light and go back in and put a green leaf here. Then again, a little bit of dark, a little bit of light. I'm going to do the same thing here. And then when I go back in, I can go back in and fill in, like, I'll give you a for instance, like on this leaf here, I can go back in. I'm actually using a smaller brush for that. But I'll go back in and I'll do, and it's, I think it's important that we learn to make our tools and things and our decorations for the Sabbath. I think it ties us more into it. So you can see now how I'm defining this leaf. And again, I'm just doing what I think this leaf might look like. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. So there we go. And then since the inside's that dry, I may come back with the brown and put in some veins. Such as that. And that's a well-defined leaf. That's a beautiful leaf. And then I can come back in with these other ones with the brown. I think this one might go up this way. And just put it in a little bit. Now I might have just wanted to put in this main, so I might go back over that with the yellow to see if I can pull some of that out. So then with this one, again, I'm just going to put in this main one. right there and leave that. You can see. So on the, yeah, that one's dry. On the smaller ones, you may just want to go back in and just see. Here we go. It's going to go all the way up there. And then I'm just taking this one. Gives the illusion of fall leaves, and that is what I was hoping for. That's all I wanted to create, is illusion of autumn. Beautiful autumn. Yeah, right here. And see how that looks like a leaf. Now, this is wet. This one down here is pretty well dry. So I can go back in again, and I'm using the brown to separate it. See, that one I'm going to have to go back over. I can go in with the brown, and I'm just going to give, now this one I may put a couple on. I think this one I'll run this way. There you go. That's all I'm going to do with that. Take this out a little more. That's it. There you go. So that's the leaves there. This one here, I might go back over it with the green, but I think I'm just going to do that to put a leaf in it. I tried it here, but when I did it, this was kind of wet, so I might go back in with some orange, and then I may not, because I'm liking how it's looking now. That one's still drying a little bit. Those are. So then here, I look in here and I'm wondering, do I see any little leaves and stuff within here? And I don't. So I think I'm just going to go around all of this with my brown. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go around with the brown and fill that in between all the leaves. Let me get my bigger brush now. I like to keep a lot of water in there. And then go back in, and I just want to touch all this with the brown. Go around all my leaves with it. And this is not hard to do. This is pretty quick. And it may have to dry a little bit, and I come back and do a little bit more on it. But you can have one of these painted. If you really want to rush it in 30 minutes, you want to take your time, about an hour. But the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And like I said, I will use mine for a couple of years. I just used the one I created 2 years ago. I just used it for my third Samhain. And I still, I'm still motivated to use it, and I enjoy using it. Now see how I'm going back around with this brown, and it's kind of like letting the leaves come out a little bit more. And then after I go through this with the brown, I'll go back around with the leaf color itself and trace them out a little bit more, like this orange and that yellow. But I'm going to have to let this dry. But this is going to give you an idea. I'm actually going to be teaching or sharing with the enchanted crones. I don't like that teaching. Why can't we share? We share. Actually going to be sharing with the crones, the enchanted crones, how I do this. Because, they're wanting to learn new things, and they're getting started. Some of them are just getting started on the craft, on their path into the craft. And I think it's important that we stay with the traditional of preparing for our sabbats and creating our things ourselves for our sabbats. It makes them more special and more unique. It makes it us. It's ours. It's our sabbat. It's our creation, the thing that we create. So, and celebrating the sabbats, it's important. That's important for your spiritual growth, even if you do it as a solitary, which and you're not part of a coven. Now, our circle, the Enchanting Crones, we don't celebrate the sabbats together because we each may practice differently and do it different ways. But we do prepare the things that we want to use, like we'll be painting an altar cloth and creating an incense, or actually it's going to be what is it called? recipe for a simmering pot. And then we're going to be creating our ritual candle, which I'm going to be doing because I'm going to have to let this dry before I go in back into the. See how that's coming together? Now you can start seeing how the leaves are coming through. And I'm just tracing around them with the brown. I really hope that if you get a chance to grab you now, I noticed over at the Dollar General, and I already picked me up a few. Um, they have some for the, I guess, Christmas season, and I grabbed in there. They have it looks like a big snowflake, and I am going to paint my altar cloth for Yule this year, and I'm going to paint that, and I'm going to use whites and the blues, and probably some. I went to the green there, and probably some. Let's see if I can go over that. I can, and probably some silvery metallic watercolor, and it's going to be a snowflake in the moon for the winter solstice for Yule. And I'm excited to design that one out and then share it with the crones so they can paint theirs. But having a watercolor palette on hand, just, like I said, an inexpensive palette to be able to do these kind of things with is absolutely, in my book, is absolutely a great thing to have. Well, for me, it's a necessity. I love the watercolor. Um, I dabble with it, but I love to do it when it comes to this. So there it is. Before I go back and I try to really touch up any more on this, I think I want to let this dry. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to touch up around the flowers to put in more distinct lines. But I think right now, if I tried it, it'd just be a bloody mess like this one. So that's what I'm going to do when it dries a little bit more. And I think this is absolutely going to be a fantastic altar cloth for autumn day. So I need to let this dry. So I want to move it over. And then I'm going to share with you how I'm doing my, let me move this over so that can dry. So now, that's fine. I'm going to share with you how I'm going to do my candle. The first thing I want to do, and this candle was already had a little break in it, so I brought it home from the shop, and this is the one I'm going to use. First thing I'm going to do is start in the middle and clear out. This clears out all energy that's come in contact with this candle. So start in the middle and just clear it out, and I throw it to like Mother Earth. Then I'm going to hold it in my hand and I'm going to enchant it. This is a candle of giving thanks on autumn day for all that the earth and the other elements has given me throughout this year with much love and gratitude. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you see these candles? These are candles from different rituals and things and just bits and pieces from where I've made other ritual candles. So I'm using a yellow candle as my main. So I'm going to put some orange on it, and I think I had a little bit of green I wanted to use, and I don't know if I have any brown. I think I do, and I have a little bit of brown, and I want to put those on here. And then I thought I would add a little bit of red, as red is the, so see how those little pieces are, and most people throw these away. I don't. I save them because they're perfect to use for things like this. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to start with the brown. I don't know if the wind out here will let me, but I'm going to try. And so I light the candle and I just No, it's not. You see, I'm going to just drip, let the wax drip onto my candle. Now you want to hold this up high so you don't get burned. That wax is hot and that fire is hot. So proceed with your own caution. But I'm going to do it like that. And then I'll go to my next color, which will probably be red. And I'm going to do the same thing. See if that's going to burn down. It's not. It went out. Okay, let me see if I can get this red going. Said it before, I'll say it again. All of my videos are in real time. So what you see is what you get. What happens is what you get. So I want to drop some red coming up from that brown, maybe a little bit onto the brown coming upward. And you can do these in one color, two colors, or, you know, just not any at all. So then from there, I think I want to go to, I'm going to add a little bit of green. Then I want to drop some green on there. And let this come on down to the other colors as well. Now I think I'm going to finish off with some orange. And then I'm going to take my orange up. Can't believe the air out here is, the breeze is cooperating with me for a few minutes. I am thankful. Let some of that drip on down. And there we go. So that is going to be my ritual candle and my altar cloth and my ritual candle. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with the crones. And this is what I am going to be celebrating Autumn Day with as I prepare cut apples and cut walnuts, deshelled walnuts, and some peanuts and some other fruits. And I'm going to spread them into the yard to thank Mother Earth and by trying to help her creatures for the winter ahead, for all the elements that has brought us so much this year. So thank you for joining me. If you could, like my channel, subscribe, ring the bell. Most of all, leave a comment. Just leave a comment because I like to hear what you have to say or what you think. If you have any other ideas for videos, leave them below. I like to read what videos you would like to see, and maybe I can do something about that. But most of all, happy Autumn Day. Stay forever magical and blessed be.